What is up, everybody? This is Zach with the Nerd Cave Podcast, episode 242. Got all of those in the wild. I am joined along with no other than the bearded
Sultan, Robbie Rose.
Incredible.
And
Allie, I'm sorry. Like, if people are wondering why I started dying laughing like a second after, it's because for some reason I had to resist this incredible urge to dab the second you started the show, and I was like, "Don't do it! Don't do it!"
I would have burned. I would have just.
I know
when I would start editing this, putting the lower thirds, I'm like, nope, it's not going out.
No,
not
just
going
put
out.
A third that just covers up Allie and just as she's dead.
Like her whole Allie Irby.
Just like, where is Allie? She's dead. She died.
She pops up after she's done dabbing. Like,
I'm here, guys. What's up? I just for some reason it was just this overwhelming urge, and I was like, "Don't do it! Don't do it!"
Yeah, don't do it.
Holly dabbed the other day, and I was like, "No,
It's
no."
I'm calling it off.
No.
Me and a girl in the choir, her name is actually also Allison. We dab to each other all the time. It's very low key. We're just dab.
I just never understood it.
It's so dumb, but
And
I love it.
I hated it at its height. I still hate it.
Oh, I do too.
Whipping as well. Nay.
Oh well, yeah, that's dumb.
Whipping Nene I can handle better because I had so many kids. When I was at J and Central.
7, yeah.
They were like, "Hey, Mr. Rob," and I almost just did it. And I would have hated myself. But they would come up and they'd be like, I'd be calling Roll, and they'd be like, "Here," and then they'd dab, and I'd be like, I would almost just erase my check by their name just so they'd get an unexcused absence.
Nice. Yeah.
I don't.
It's an evil thing.
I don't like. What's funny is I want to say one of my kids broke one of his fingers from dabbing. He dabbed and hit a pole with his hand.
The
when
ultimate dab.
And I'm just like, this is what it was, that or whipping. I can't remember. It's one of the t'other.
It was probably dabbing because unless he was
don't get too close.
a foot away from.
Yeah. I also hate the thing where they're and they lift their leg up.
You're not LeBron. You're not Curry.
It's so dumb.
Man, I was watching basketball last night. Philly, a lot better than they've ever been.
Oh, yeah, the 76ers are really good now.
And then I was watching Milwaukee versus the Knicks. Man, Milwaukee, Atakimbo, Mumpapa, whatever is.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh, Ant.
Well, they call him the Greek freak because hardly anybody can pronounce his last name because he is Greek.
Yeah.
But, he is so he did this one thing it was a beautiful dunk. Well, he took 3 steps, but I'm it would take me 12 steps to equal those 3 steps. He was like,
Just.
I'm sure Nangan is appreciative of your 3 steps.
That's all good.
But they were tied 90-90. And there was 10 seconds left. He had the ball, dribbling, and then hit it. They had 1.9 seconds left on the board. They timed it perfectly. Of course they're had a chance to tie it up, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I see you, Milwaukee. I see you, Milwaukee.
Because I remember when me and you used to do For the win.
Whichever weekday we needed to put it on for that week.
We'd always, if someone wanted us to play with, bad teams, it's always the Bucks, the 76ers, teams like that. But now they're really good. And there's a rumor. The NBA is already broken because nobody can beat Golden State with Stephen Curry.
I think Boston can.
No, I don't even think they can.
I can. I do.
But there's also rumors that LeBron James could potentially go to Golden State.
Golden State doesn't have that much money.
I think at this point he has all the money he needs.
He ain't gonna.
I'm saying he's still gonna get paid, but
he wants to be the top dog.
He wants to be. He wants to beat Jordan. He wants there to be no even close. Who's better, him or Jordan? Because obviously people are doing it by rings, and
yeah, because all of his stats at this point, almost all of them are better than Jordan's.
So, I still think he probably ends up with the Lakers.
I don't know.
There's a chance he resigns with the Cavs, but
The Cavs have to win.
Yeah, but I can
Like, the
definitely.
Cavs have to win a ring for him to even consider staying.
But I think it's the Lakers, and poor John Wall's out 4 to 6 weeks. But the Wizards are on a 2-game winning streak without him.
That's good.
So
So how has y'all's weeks been?
since we've been talking basketball,
Allie's just
he's
kinda
like,
No, I literally resorted to just like staring, just dead at the camera.
I'm still here, guys. I'm still here.
Yeah, I was just like, it was a good week. Friend, I hadn't seen her in a really long time. She came in from out of town for her birthday. So we took her to go see the UWF Trash Shrine, which is it's sacred ground. There's now an iPhone graveyard there, so that's fun.
Oh, nice.
God, I hate people. I hate
Like
them
me,
so
like
much.
it's like because the whole trash shrine is like it's like people leave. Like sometimes there is just like actual trash there, but it's usually like it's like old stuff. Like some people have left like really nice jewelry there, but it's like understood that if it's there, you do not take it. Like pretty much everything that was there.
I've been going. I'm like, la, la, la.
No, like because like I went and saw it sometime at the end of last semester, and like when I went back this past week, like it was all still there.
Okay, I'm gonna let you know if they a hobo and he want a drink or something.
Now we gonna know about the trash.
They ain't gonna
shrine.
be no. Well, how can he watch this if he doesn't have it?
Also, it's a little convoluted to get to.
But
Well, there's a will, there's a way.
No, I mean, yeah.
If you starving on the side of the road and you have that.
I mean, sure. Like, I mean, I'm not saying
sure
people
you'll
aren't.
go find and get a piece of jewelry and go to a pawn shop and get $20 and go to
Yeah.
McDonald's or something.
But yeah, like people have left shoes there. There's like a little like stump that's like covered. I mean, they're like old, gross, moldy shoes because they've been left out in the rain. But like there's like a little stump there that's covered in moss, and so people have put like little dinosaurs on it. It's like I think it started off as like an art project or something. I don't know. I don't know the origins of it, but it's really cool, and it's like I don't know. It's something special.
It's really cool, guys.
It is.
It's really cool.
But yeah, now there's like people have left. There's 2 or 3 iPhones there, but they're like all shattered and stuff. And there's
I want
one.
to start putting dirty diapers.
I was about to say. Nerd Cave is now accepting dirty diapers.
No, don't put that out
You
there.
send them to this address, and Zach will take them.
No, like
I mean,
it'd be like
if you-
weird, like adult diapers.
If you can find the trash shrine, then you go ahead.
I can.
I think I'm
sure
ready
you
for
can.
another
I
adventure.
am a folk hero.
Not
I'm a
in the
wizard.
real world.
I am.
I'm a wizard.
So after this episode
Yep.
of the podcast,
Yep.
we're going to start filming.
Nerd
Is that
Caves
my
and Dragons.
hair or your hair?
My
Yeah, we're filming Nerd Caves and Dragons after this, and I mean we'll go back over it again. But Zach is going to be a folk hero, warrior, fighter, not warrior. Robbie is a wizard, and Amy is the cleric. So
You gotta say, you can't say wizard.
it's wizard.
A wizard.
Because we're just using the pre-rolled character sheets, and they all picked their characters, and so
Yeah, and Amy's going to be
cleric. Mhm. Which is nice, so I don't have to worry about keeping you guys stocked up on health potions.
Where my clerk at? Where my clerk? That's how my wizard. My wizard's gonna talk.
I'm going to win.
I'm gonna win. I am essentially
I'm a wizard.
Waluigi.
I'm gonna cast the mage I have.
This episode is brought to you by Grammarly.com. We'll talk a little bit about that later on. And thank you to all of our Patreon supporters at patreon.com/nerdcave. We'll talk more about that later in the show as well. But a big shout out to our Patreon producer, Caleb Palmer.
Hey.
Appreciate you, man.
Pew, 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 pew.
So, speaking of Waluigi, Nintendo did something pretty big this week.
I saw that.
We talked about it on Nerdcade Plus, which you can watch on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time on Facebook and YouTube. We got rid of Twitch. We killed that.
Oh.
We put that pig down.
Yeah.
We no longer will kick that one.
Yeah.
We'll kick the other 2 pigs.
We shot it in the head.
That's how we had bacon this morning.
Yeah.
Which we
Had-
did. 'Cause
we
we
had
had
I was gonna
chicken.
say we didn't have bacon this morning.
But you can check out Nerdcade Plus. But Nintendo made a big announcement that they are partnering with Illumination.
partnering, not parting.
Partner with Illumination, which made Despicable Me and Minions, and it's also owned by Universal Studios, which they
That's
have
right, yeah.
a partnership to build Nintendo Land with. That they are going to make a Mario movie.
I thought you were talking about something else.
What?
The Mario Kart coming to the iPhone or something like that.
Oh, we talked. That's all gaming, but Mario
Right.
movie comes into this. So did you not see that?
No,
Yes,
this I did not see.
They're going to make a Mario movie.
Now with this, I have like
You're trepidatious.
Like my expectations are so low. An Oompa
that's a-
Loompa can just walk over it. That's how low it is.
Don't you mean an Oompa Goomba? Don't hit the mic.
No, like I have faith. Like Nintendo has brought faith back into my life for them. But talking about a movie is just, it scares me because we've seen the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
But that means you
And-
can only go up.
I'm about to say it can't be any worse than Super Mario Brothers. Am I peeking?
No, you're just. I'm just helping you out, man.
I got you. But we've seen the worst of the worst, and we don't want it to be there. And I don't think
Yeah.
it will be. I think going animated, if that's the route they're taking, which
Yeah, which
So they're
sounds-
partnering with
they are.
Illumination.
it
They are.
sounds like it.
Yeah, and Miyamoto's going to be involved in this. Like he's involved with the creation of this.
Yeah.
So Miyamoto has not steered the series wrong
No.
ever, and he's the creator of it.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to get anything that is not Mario-esque. And we were talking about how Nintendo has really changed, I think, with the changing of the guard, and they're having to take risk to put Nintendo back to where they
Oh yeah, absolutely.
were needed to be. That they are partnering with people. You look at when they partnered with Ubisoft to make Mario plus Rabbids
Yeah.
Kingdom Battle. That panned out extremely well.
yes,
for
it did.
them.
I still really want to get it because it looks like a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun, and then you see all these mobile games that are being made by non-Nintendo. Niantic, I think, might be owned by Nintendo. I'm not sure.
I think
Or
they are. I think they're either that or they're closely
I'm
partnered with it
looking it
because
up.
they made Pokemon as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's seeing them do this, I'm curious to see what they do with Mario, because Mario has only a few phrases that he says over and over.
It's a me,
It's me and Mario.
Mario.
Wahoo.
Woohoo!
And like when he's getting
Burnt.
burnt. That's about it. And-
Yahoo!
I want.
Yeah.
I want Jeff Goldblum to voice Bowser.
You want who?
Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, I don't. I heard it. I heard Goldblum, but I couldn't tell what the first name was, and I was like, did he say Jeff Goldblum or Jill Goldblum?
Jeff Goldblum to voice Bowser.
hello guys, my name's Bowser. Life will find a way.
It's like the worst Jeff Goldblum impression I've ever
That
heard.
is Jeff Goldblum 100%.
No.
Yeah, it is.
I would say like maybe 10%.
No, that is my. Anytime I hear Jeff Goldblum, I'm like, Lord God,
I love Jeff
please
Goldblum.
help me.
My beautiful fiance has gotten me the
Sexy
Jurassic
Joe.
Park, the sexy Goldblum, Jeff Goldblum that Target came out with, and it's the big one. So it's my first big pop.
Nice.
I put it up here.
Really? It's a big one?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
it's one of the
put it up here.
20-something dollar ones.
Mm-hmm.
Put it up here.
I have one of those.
I'd bring it, but it's staying at my house
Mm-hmm.
so he can look at me while I sleep.
So, what is y'all take on this? That's a pretty big move for Nintendo. Do you think it's going to pan out?
I think it will, because especially since they're keeping it animated. Because I think there was a lot of stuff that went wrong with the live action, but I think the live action was the first step in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So yeah, keeping honestly, I can. It'll probably be something oh, he's gotta go save Peach, but then she's also being bad A on her own self, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It'll probably be something like that, but I think it could go badly, but I honestly think it's gonna do really well.
To quote the great movie Dodgeball, I'm so used to having
I know,
to do it.
boy. I know.
To quote the great movie Dodgeball, it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for them.
I think it's going to be awesome. So I'm excited
I'll
to see what
yeah.
they do with it.
I think that I'm that's smart. I think that I could see it that maybe like they'll, cause it'll just like the credits roll, it's just all Charles Martinet, Charles Martinet, Charles. I could see it that like, they keep Mario's lines, you know, pretty limited, but then everyone else gets more voice lines. I could see either being that or he also gets voice lines, but I think that keeping his voice lines minimal while everyone else has more speaking parts would be interesting.
Because we don't know how well Charles's chops are as Mario, because we've literally only heard 3 lines of dialect from him.
Yeah.
So.
Well, because he like went around and like did a bunch of those vines where he was like, he had like Mario and Luigi action figures, and you saw him, like, he can do it.
Oh, I'm sure he can.
Well, you play the game, like I played Mario Odyssey, like everybody else is like blah 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 blah, and Mario's like,
I'm not listening.
you know, like everybody else is talking up a storm. Bowser does it, Peach does it, Cappy does it,
Toadstool.
yeah, Captain Toad, and all
Mario.
that. God, kill it with fire. As I like punch the mic, just like. So yeah, that's about the biggest thing that I want to talk about. What do y'all want to talk about? Silence ensues.
Now, I'll kind of talk about a movie that I watched that's always near and dear to my heart. Me and Holly we were flipping through Netflix as we touch weenuses. But
I'll just stare into the camera while I do this.
we were going through Netflix, and she's like, I want to watch something funny and something animated. And I was like, okay. I was like, let's see what's on. And like we were going through, she's like, can we watch this movie? And I was like, are you talking about this one or this one? She's like, the Lord of the Rings. I was like, that's not either animated.
Oh,
It has its funny parts. She's like, yeah, I wanted to watch it. I was like, I love you so much.
I thought you were talking about like old school animated Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings, and I was like, oh, no way, it's on Netflix.
No, I wished.
That would be cool.
It'd be
But
amazing.
Weird, but it's cool.
Yeah.
But no, so we started watching Lord of the Rings, and of course it is such a very long movie, and we started at like 9 o'clock.
No, I'm sorry, my
So she
friend.
didn't.
So you
she
guys,
didn't
like,
get
just
to
finished
finish
it, right?
No, she hasn't finished it yet, but we got a good.
You're in the fellowship, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
we got a little ways after Frodo
Stabby,
got
stabby,
stabbed,
die.
like by the
No,
troll.
no,
Troll. So we were pretty far into it, and like when the movie's starting up, I'm like verbatim quoting the entire movie. She's like, "Are you gonna do this the entire time?" I was like,
I can see her just like gonna do this all the time.
I was like, because like we were leaning into it, like watching the movie together, and as soon as she said that, I was like, no, and I rolled over to the deep dark of Morty. So I was like, I can, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's a good moment. She's wanting to kind of delve deeper into like some of the nerd cinematic
It's good stuff. Good
pieces,
stuff.
and so
Lord of the Rings is a good
she
place.
didn't really care for the Hobbits, which I understand. Like the story in the Hobbits are good, but some things in the Hobbit movies.
Oh, the Hobbit movies.
Yeah,
those-
I was
those were
confused at
trash.
first. I was like, excuse you, Samwise, the best character.
But
Super bomb.
it's neat. Aw. Why would you bring that up?
Oh, like you said, we were always like, no.
What a really funny part was, like, she was like, "Oh, Ned Stark." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, yeah. She's like, "Does he die in this one?" I'm like,
No.
I'm like,
One does not simply be Sean Bean and live.
like when it got to the point, because she's never watched these movies, and he goes, "One does not simply go," and she's like, "Is that a meme?" I was like, "Yes, Holly."
Oh, that's amazing.
That is that's actually one of the first memes.
Yes, it is.
to come out, and she's like, "It's like history." Like watching, I was like, "This is not history."
I mean, it kind of.
History of the internet.
Yeah,
baby.
internet history.
But like, I was like, it's Sean Bean. I'm like, if he's in a movie or anything or a show, you could possibly expect him to some point not be in the show anymore.
I think the only movie I've ever seen with Sean Bean in it where he hasn't died. I mean, like I know he's done a bunch where he hasn't died, but is the first National Treasure movie.
Yeah.
And he gets arrested, which is essentially like the kid equivalent of dying.
Yeah.
But
Pretty
yeah,
much.
I mean, that's been pretty eventful. It's been fun.
So, since we're talking about Lord of the Rings,
So
what's
good.
your favorite Lord of the Rings movie? Like, we include the Hobbit movies as well, but
Nah. But, I mean, they were good, but I prefer the original Lord of
Yeah.
the Rings trilogy.
so out of the three, Fellowship, Two Towers, Return of the King, which one's your favorite?
Now, I did like the story about how everything started in the Fellowship, but I really enjoyed Two Towers.
Yeah, me
I
too.
loved
They're all really
the
good.
ant battle. Like, when they just...
The ant battle?
The ant-
Like a bunch
That's
of ants?
sad.
Like, oh, you're so cute!
No, the ant battle.
Oh, the Ent battle.
That it was so, like, I mean, it's so well done. Like, you see these trees are actually forming, like, an army, essentially. And because they're
Army of
tired
old
of seeing
dudes.
their brothers and sisters being cut down by
Yeah.
Saruman and the Uruk-hai and the orcs. So you just see a bunch of trees just coming out, brah, brah,
And then,
Merry and Pippin are like throwing rocks.
Yeah, I was gonna say like at the very end, like they meet up and Merry and Pippin are just like smoking their pipes on like the water wheel or something like that. It was like, hey guys, what's up?
Yeah, so that was a really cool part. But Two Towers is definitely my favorite, but I will give a nod to Return of the King, like seeing Aragorn taking back the mantle as king was really cool.
And also one of the most iconic lines of like, I'm trying to remember what his line is. It's like, no man can kill me, and then I am no man. Bah! It's good
Yeah.
stuff.
And she's like,
Good stuff. I love that line a lot.
what's yours?
I had to go with Twin Towers.
Twin Towers?
Two towers,
Two
Lord.
Towers.
Two Towers, just because of the Battle of the Deep. Like that part is just amazing. Best part of the movie and everything, and it's all practical effects. I know that's one reason why we don't care for the Hobbits as much.
Yeah.
Is because of all the CGI and everything. But Two Towers has all of that practical effects, like all of that huge battle and everything. And of course, like they did put some CGI
you throw some-
characters
yeah.
to make the army bigger, but
Because that would be too much work.
yeah, but the main, like what you're actually seeing, like
Yeah.
attacking and fighting, is people in costumes and all of that, and they look amazing.
They look.
Like,
Yeah.
Uruk-hai were done so
Yes.
great, and they were scary, but they weren't CGI.
Well, they had like the white
Oh,
head.
like-
or
Oh,
something.
I thought you were telling them like
Right-handed
shut up, and I was
I'm
like,
like-
jeez.
I'm like, just tell me that.
Yeah.
Like, it was so well done. Like, I mean, you see the Berserker Uruk-hai with
That's
the,
what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Like that moment where he's like just running and like they're like, shoot him! And like, they're like, "Du-du-du-du-du-du-du."
I love
No,
like
it was just Legolas shooting him. Like, you have hundreds of archers, but you're only going to have Legolas shooting. And Legolas is so freaking accurate. Why didn't he just right between the eyes?
I don't think it would have stopped him.
nope.
He was hopped up on cocaine.
Yep.
Like, it's like, oh, let me shoot him in the shoulder. He's like,
I saw this really funny like meme, I guess someone made of it, where it's like it was old school Mercy when she still had the mass res, and so it's like Mercy has res, shoot her down, and it's like she's like running in with her ult, and then it's like as like whenever the gate blows up, you just hear heroes never die. But yeah. Because I know like the first time I want to know like how you guys first like saw the movies. Because the first time I watched it, it was right before we moved into our house now. My dad and I went there the night before we were bringing all the furniture in, and so it was just like we had a couple sleeping bags and a TV, and he was like, "Allie, you should watch Lord of the Rings." And so I watched all three of them in one night. He fell asleep. I watched them all because I was like, "This is the best thing I've ever seen." I was like 10, I think. So yeah, that was my introduction. Was just all at once.
With me, I remember it vividly. We were Two Towers just came out. Me and my brother never watched Fellowship of the Ring, so we were discussing, should we go watch this movie? Like, it was mom and dad, and with my mom even to consider like going to this is a huge thing. But it was like, oh, should we go watch this, or should we go rent the first one and go home and watch it, and then we'll watch Two Towers? so it fell into we went and got Fellowship of the Ring. We watched it a bunch. This was back in Blockbuster days.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, wow, this is something special. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I think we might have waited until Two Towers actually, because I think the only time I watched a Lord of the Rings was actually Return of the King. And I remember Jessie Johnson, I took her on a date to go watch Return of the King. that was a big moment because I had a huge crush on her. But we went and watched it and everything. It was like December is when it like came out, and like that's how I watched those three. How about you?
I got Fellowship of the Ring. We rented it from I See Your Blockbuster, and I'll raise you
A movie galley?
a J video.
Oh,
and because we would, usually on a Friday night.
yeah.
If me and Hunter and Trevor was really young, but if me and Hunter had done well in school that week, showed up, did our work.
Apparently, y'all misbehaved, so your mom bribed y'all with movies on Friday.
Because I think we were in middle school. I think when the first Lord of the Rings came out.
Yeah, I think we were 5th or 6th grade, something like that.
I mean, my little brother still got the little thick cards that on a daily basis of how you were, like to make your parents sign off on.
Yeah.
Well, my mom was friends with my teachers, so like she would know if we like acted up.
Yeah.
And of course, we had Miss Barry at the time.
Yeah.
And
So it was either 4th or 5th grade. Actually, she taught us 4th, 5th, and
And
6th.
sixth.
She wouldn't go away. And she kept changing the last name.
it's really funny. I don't know why, but like when I had her, I felt like she hated me. But now when I see her, she just comes up and hugs me and talks to me. I'm like,
One day she's gonna hug you. She's gonna like stab you. She's like, no, just in the back. She's like, I've always hated you, boy. I always hated you.
What grade were you guys in 2001?
We graduated in 2008.
So it would have been like 5th grade. No, wow, I'm way off.
12 take away 7 is what?
It's 5.
Yeah, so 5.
Okay. I was like, I thought about that.
I was
looked
sitting
at
there. I was
me.
like, the math doesn't seem right.
I thought I was like, maybe I'm not.
If I move my fingers, it looks like I'm doing math.
But me, Mom.
Me during the SAT.
Me,
Man, that person
Mom,
really knows math.
Dad, Hunter, and I think Trevor was there. I can't remember. He would have been. But we were all watching it, of course. Mom and Hunter and Trevor all fell asleep, but like me and Dad, we were focused in on it because it was such a good movie and a very enjoyable movie.
Mm.
Then we had to turn it back the next day to J Video.
Yeah, because you only
had
got one night.
Yeah, like during like the so like we were watching it, and I can't remember when my dad fell asleep. It was sometime, I think it was either sometime during 2 or like right before 2 started. And I was like trying not to wake him up, but I was like, I gotta keep watching. But Two Towers is the one with the giant spider, right?
Shelob was.
Yeah.
No, Return of
Is
the
it
King.
Return of the King?
Yeah, Return of the King, yeah.
It's been a while since I've watched
But if you
this.
played Shadow of War, she's a sexy lady.
Well then.
No, it's like this giant, deadly, like...
Oh, she like
spider.
human like spider
Yeah,
human lady? Okay.
yeah, like she transforms into a lady. It's just like,
Like,
then.
when was this?
when
like-
did she get this power?
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like we're trying to sexualize a spider.
It's yeah. So like I think by the time like I'd finished Return of the King, like the sun was coming up, because again I watched them all in one sitting. But yeah, like because I have terrible arachnophobia, and so whenever that came on, of course it's still pretty dark out, and I'm essentially like alone because my dad's asleep, and I'm like, no.
If you have bad arachnophobia, go watch the movie Arachnophobia.
Yes, I've heard
it's
of it.
It's about those little tiny spiders that were like super poisonous and like took over the entire town and was like killing people.
Yeah.
I watched that as a kid and it freaked me out.
It's one
I
of
was
those-
so scarred.
Like it's weird because like there was whenever I watched Chamber of Secrets, the Aragog scene, like it didn't bother me, but for some reason, and like in all like movies with spiders and stuff, that spider's the only one that's ever bothered me in a movie.
But
Shelob?
Yeah.
Mm.
Every other time I'm like, it's just a movie, it's whatever. But that one I was like,
When y'all watched the Fellowship of the Ring, did y'all just feel like you were there forever and it did not end? Like,
Yeah, it was kind of boring.
It's like almost somewhere between like 3 and 4 hour movie, right?
Like it was
Depends on if you watch director's cut.
I love it. I think it's still a great movie. But yeah, it took a lot of time to get nowhere. There was just
That's fair.
lot of stuff that a lot of fat could have been trimmed out of that movie. But I remember watching it, I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then it'd be like 30 minutes. I'm like, okay.
Well, what gets me is it goes back to the Hobbit thing. If they could ride freaking eagles, why can't?
Because
Yeah,
of
no, I was just like Shabushki and like
Plot
call the eagles
convenience.
up.
Gandalf has to be the guy who's like, I'm only here if I want to be here, and I'm only going to help you guys if I want to help you. And they're like, well, don't you want to help us now? And he's just like, no, and I had like a Diet Coke over there. I gotta go. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
So back to the spiders real quick.
Yep.
I don't know if this has happened to y'all. Y'all all played Skyrim, right?
Yep.
Okay. I know anytime in a video game, like where there's something like creepy crawly, like I always get like weird.
Yeah, like you can like it's like you can feel it. Kind
like the flood in Halo and any of the spiders in Skyrim. Like anytime I went into a cave and I started seeing cobwebs, I'm like, I've got you, bro.
Yeah.
I just like
No,
walk through. I just like have fire going.
I totally get that.
But like even the big ones, I'm like, ah! Like it just. I don't know what it is. It just
I always try to like my archery skills always
sneak.
Like I could sneak and I did so much damage with my bow. That's how
Oh
I
yeah,
play.
you'd sneak through and you'd be like,
I would see when I'm like, not today.
Yeah, like I think it's also because a lot of those games it's first person, so like it really feels like you're there, and so like your brain kind of feels like there is like an actual threat there, even though like it's a video game, but it's still like you're there. It's from your perspective.
Just wait till we're 50 and it's like virtual
All
reality. Like
oh my god, no! Another. Yeah,
I feel Robbie
like
sticking to the roof.
no, it's like games become
That's
VR
like,
and 4D.
This is so real. And he just takes off. I'm just like.
And then you're like
Run away. Yeah. When I was younger, in the Chamber of Secrets computer game, whenever you're around spiders, like there's little spiders that'll like crawl up on you. They don't do any damage, but like they'll just like stick on you, and you have to like kind of like shake them off or whatever.
Yeah.
And so whenever I was younger, my friend, I'd be like, "Oh God, there's spiders on us! Get them off!
It's always like the flood.
Flood is the worst for me.
It is this sense of
Flood?
dread. It's like the parasite that's in Halo. Have you never played Halo?
I've never played Halo.
I forget how young we have someone. Like, it is literally everything in life that you fear is in the flood.
Yeah.
Like, they're little,
like, the little ones are like this, but they have, like, legs,
tentacles.
and they'll, like, jump on you and, like, suck the life out of you.
I will absolutely add that to the campaign.
But, like, they, like, roll, like, kind of, I mean, it's weird how they attack, because it's just like...
It's like a wave, like, all of them to get together, but... Then, like, they'll get a host and...
Like a dead body, or they'll kill somebody, and then, like...
They'll have guns, and they'll shoot.
That is my worst fear, is bugs with guns.
Now, it kind of reminds me of, like, World War Z zombies, how they're, like...
That's what I was thinking whenever you were saying it was, like, a wave.
Yeah. So, I just remember the first time I played Halo at me and Justin Rose, and it's late at night, and we get to... the first time you start fighting the flood, oh Lord! The worst
you hold
thing,
hands, you're like, we gotta get through it together.
the worst thing is like playing late at night, and then you find something that's creepy crawly, and it's just like, like movies don't do that as much for me.
Yeah, because I think you're able to distance yourself more from a movie than you are from a game.
Mm-hmm. Just because you're not feeling that, but. And books never do that to me either.
Oh, yeah, no.
Because I can just go...
It's scary. Go for it.
But games, like, it's just...
Again, like, I think it goes back to the whole first-person perspective.
Yeah, totally.
Another bug that, like, creeps me out, it was the first... I don't remember what they're called, but in Fallout 4, it's, like, the giant mosquitoes.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like, and ever I see one, I'm just like, I'm just gonna... go around. I try to make like as big of like a radius around them as I can. I'm like, thank you. That's another thing that like I think that's the biggest thing is like if they were easy to kill, it'd be fine. But since they're so hard to kill, it makes them even more terrifying.
KOTOR 1, Terrace, when you're down in the sewers. What are those things called?
Racked ghouls.
Yeah, ragdoll. Oh my God, I hated those
That
things.
sounds familiar.
Like they were like poisonous and like they were turning people into like
Rack ghouls themselves.
rat ghouls themselves.
Rad or rat?
Rack. RHAKGHOUL.
Rack ghouls, yeah,
Rack.
something like that. Oh my God,
Whatever.
like that was another. It was just like, ugh!
Like, because I was always the nice one, and like
These things.
I would tell them, I'm like, yeah, open the door.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so those are
And I
really
was like,
creepy.
I was like, open the gate, I'll save him. And then like one time I was like, I had all my
Gross.
people were down to no health. I had no med kits or anything. They were like, that woman was like, help my brother. I was like, I'm super good on the light side. I was like, I can handle just a few dark side points. I was like, keep the gate closed. I was like, I can't survive at a time right now.
And that's one of the good things. Like, I can't wait till we get to the point where VR is so immersive that we start getting things that are like that more.
Mhm.
Player one style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where it's much more in depth than just, oh, pick this up, move it over here, you know.
Mhm.
But we get where it's like KOTOR, but it's VR. Like, could you imagine
living
living
doing
that?
like being able to, like, I don't need like the full immersion rig, like where like I'm feeling things on my body, but like just being able to like have my be transported to it, like to where you have to look around.
Yeah.
How would you feel if someone like kicked you in the face and it was like barefoot and it just like felt like a
I'm like, wow, it's so immersive. I tasted it.
4D VR.
And I actually saw where PlayStation is going to start using the PSVR to do sporting events.
Oh, that
think,
would be
I
cool.
think the Super Bowl is the first one that they're going to do with that. So I'm curious to see how it works all together with the VR headset and everything, because that is, I think, where VR is going to get very consumer based, where it's like it spreads really, really fast.
Yeah.
But I think when it spreads really fast, Sony will see the possibilities. There'll be a market
Sure,
there.
sure.
And then we'll get more than just the experiences that we're getting right
Mm-hmm.
now. I think we'll get more AAA games that are based in VR and everything.
It's a good starting spot.
Yeah.
For sure.
You just got to be careful of the motion sickness.
Yeah.
Don't pick up the baseball zags in it. So to speak.
Yeah, like I had the headset on one time. Somebody took the camera and started moving. I was like, oh my God. But, with the sporting event, I think being able to, sit there. Anyway, I know it won't get this far, but like if you could, like if the refs had cameras on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then you'd be like, ref, why didn't you see that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's always going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I think that would be pretty awesome.
That would be pretty
I think it just needs to be kind of like the camera angle that they kind of started is like when you're playing Madden, you know how it's like always above the quarterback,
Yeah.
like backed up a little bit. They actually did that a few times this year in like real NFL games,
Mhm.
and I think doing something like that, like having us, like the people who are watching it VR, have that angle, which is the angle that they're going to
Able to
start. Yeah, they're going
Just
to
turn around and just not watch the game.
because they did it. The first Thursday night game was the Titans and the Steelers is when they tested it out. Because when it's super foggy, that's the best angle. Because when you're down on the ground,
Yeah, you can't see it.
It's hard to see. So I think that they're going to start doing that. Like that'd be a really cool way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's really cool?
What's really cool.
Grammarly.com.
Tell me about it.
If you suck at writing, you got something important to write, Grammarly is the way to go. I've used Grammarly for probably 2 years right now, and it's helped me sound smart for quite some time. Anytime I write an email, I put it through Grammarly to make sure my grammar is good. Because if you're like me and Robbie,
You went to J.
so hello, we probably know each other. But no, you weren't taught grammar until it was too late. And
Far too late.
Grammarly's actually taught me more about commas than I think all of 6th grade did. Because I remember that's the only time Miss Tall Lady. No,
Miss Bird.
no,
Miss Bird. No.
no. Ah, God, she really tall lady, older lady. Like when you go into like Miss Ponder's classroom was here, her classroom was there. Miss McTall Lady. She
Miss Mackin.
Excuse me.
Mac Henry? No,
I
no,
think it might have been.
no. I don't think it was Mac Henry. Oh, look at that. That's cool. She taught us grammar. It didn't stick. I was drawing Goku and Gohan in that class. I remember that. And
I don't even remember what I was
I had Mallory Whitman one day tell me that I needed to kick Tic Tac because my breath smelled.
Get wrecked.
I remember that. I put it in your yearbook that year.
And
So don't be like sixth grade Zach that doesn't know grammar.
it was I got okay in grammar once I hit I just enough to pass my English classes.
Yeah.
And once that was done, it like kicked out once again.
Man, if I would have had this in English comp or in college, I would have sounded so much smarter. I would have not made 90s. I would have made hundreds.
Yeah.
Because I had more commas in there. I just put commas to put commas. Commas are the most misused thing ever. So you can start using commas the right way with Grammarly. All you have to do is go over to getgrammarly.com/nerdcave, download the free installer, and just start using it.
Get good at grammar, scrub.
Yeah. So again, go over to
son.
getgrammarly.com/nerdcave. Check it out. Support the Nerd Cave by doing this because, hey, we want you to sound smart, just like we sound smart.
Sound smart.
Miss McTall Lady.
Miss McIntyre.
Yeah, Miss McIntyre. So there you go, guys. You got anything else y'all want to talk about? Make sure, if you want to catch out Nerd Caves and Dragons, which is our Dungeons and Dragons show, you can check it out over on Patreon on February 12th. That's going to go up a week early for everybody over at Patreon. If you don't want to check it out early, you can just wait till February 19th, which is President's Day. We're going to put it out then for everybody else. Huh?
Yep. I'll be out for it.
I'll be out for it.
I don't know if I have class that day. I probably do.
Anyway, high five.
So you can check that out. If you want to go over to patreon.com/nerdcave, support us. You get a ton of stuff early.
Oh yeah, like we're actually getting ready to do a raffle some point for people who have supported Nerd Cave at a $5 mark, and $5 make me holla. It's a sweet word alive.
Yes. You can check all of that out. We've got a ton of awesome tiers and everything.
I want a T-shirt that says it's a sweet word.
You're going to get us like...
We're gonna get a cease and desist for, what was it, Pepsi, right?
No,
Or Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper, okay.
No. Diet Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Lord.
Can I get one? No, I'm here for her.
You can check us out over there. If you don't have any money to toss us, just go over to youtube.com/Nerd Network. Check out all of this show. We also have our gaming channel, Nerd Cave Gaming, which we do Nerd Cave Plus each and every week. It is also a podcast for the people that love podcasts. All you got to do, if you love it on Spotify, it's on Spotify. It's one of the select few that are on Spotify. Mm-hmm. You put Nerd Cave in, guess what shows up? Nerd Cave Plus and a song by MC Chris called Nerd Cave.
Huh.
I think we're in good company.
I think we are.
Pretty good company. So check it out, guys. Support us over there. And we're also on iTunes, podcast services around the globe.
Stitcher Radio, I believe.
Yes, Stitcher Radio, all of that awesome stuff. So check it out. Also with this show, even if you don't listen to the podcast, like you're like, I like the videos. Guess what? Go support us. Go subscribe. Go rate us. Be like, hey, these guys are awesome.
Fantabulous.
Yes. I'm giving them a 5-star.
Fabulous.
Do that on the Nerd Cave podcast and Nerd Cave Plus. It will help us a ton with searchability and discoverability and all the abilities. Yes, and credibility. All the abilities.
Agility. I was trying to think of things that rhymed.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
Some of us can't do it, but okay. So check it out. Support us. And we appreciate all of you. You big, beautiful people. This has been episode 200. 42 of the Nerd Cave podcast. We're ever closer to 250.
Okay.
I hate you. I'm not deaf. Like,
I was like, I hope I whispered low enough.
You could
You're
have
like,
been like,
damn.
you should just been like, and I've been like, or you could have just gone like this, just kind of gone, and I've been like, I get you. I get it.
I just like to see Zach cringe sometimes. I like to watch the world burn. I love you, man.
This has been Zach.
Robbie.
And Alec.
Have a week.